desk. I anticipate we'll wait for a bit. We'll have more here. Sister Nya said she'll be about an hour
Oh,
before
this
she
will be
gets here.
great. Yeah, so this will be great. So basically, she was accused by the authorities in Austria because of her membership with GPMS when she tried to get the children and everything. They invoke everything against her, and by the end, the judges there or the authority found that there is no reason to invoke GPMS in that way. So this is what is happening, yeah? This is
Yeah, well,
GPMS,
this
this is how
is
GPMS was involved basically on everything on the court.
yeah, yes. I wish in this meeting we should get into that first thing. So I'll bring up the screen of Public Notice 40 and I will explain it to the people, even though we've got it in layman's terms. I'll go through it and add a couple things to make sure it's clear what this means. It's very significant. Yeah.
Everybody's here.
So what I suggest once we will start with that right at the beginning because it's actually a very important special announcement, if you will, for GPMS. Hey, Sister Lodi, Brother Dave.
Okay, probably we may start.
Well, we can. Feel we're ready. Everyone ready? Now
We need to
let's.
streamline.
All right, beginning to do that. All right, we're live, Sister Beatrice. Maybe just a couple more. There we go. That's perfect. Great. Yes, may you play the opening statement.
Divine-gpms.world is a worldwide cumulative gathering of consents for every child, woman, and man to ratify and enact into law worldwide, the all-inclusive replacement system of money and law worldwide. As outlined on the consenting website of Divine-gpms.world, it is imperative that all worldwide take a couple of minutes and consent to add your accord, children included.
Greetings to everyone. We are on October 5th, 2025, and we are on Divine-gpms.world, the worldwide public meeting. And we have with us Holy Guardian and representative, and also the founder, Rick Jewers, that is also Highest Priest of Melchizedek Order, and it is with us today on Earth, on these divine times, because we really need another system. Just for the people to understand a system, we need basically another environment to develop our life. Hi, Rick. I know that there is an extremely important message that we should share today, because this impacts all law, international law already. And it's basically the recognition of GPMS inside the artificial law, international artificial law, started to be recognized. So divine law started to be recognized as it is. So yes.
Yes, so we have a very special and important announcement with us. And again, what I will say, there has never been any question to the authority of what GPMS actually is as a universal nation, and also the universal jurisdiction which comes along with that, founded in real law, absolute law. And what this means is that, as we've always said, no nation can reject what GPMS.world is as a universal nation, but truly it is I would say it is the highest authority on earth, which it is, because of the universal nation and jurisdiction status. So what has transpired with a lengthy lawful proceedings with interjecting divine law into the artificial man-made system of laws. At least we have it recognized, Divine-gpms.world, into Austria's legal framework. And that is done by a prosecutor making the announcement that there is nothing unlawful with, let's say, Sister Nya being a member of Divine-gpms.world. Because what occurred in an investigation into Sister Nya, it was questioned her status as a GPMS member. And as a result, a prosecutor made a constitution. No, it is not a national threat. It is actually in alignment with the constitution, at least of Austria. However, this extends worldwide because Austria is a democratic country, and most democratic countries uphold the unalienable rights of the individual to at least some extent. So the unalienable rights of the individual worldwide are not fully recognized in every nation yet, except Divine-gpms.world. So this is a huge precedent with it and what we're doing. And let's say the bona fide status of what GPMS actually is and all of its members as a universal nation. So with this, let me just hold on for one moment. Yeah, so this is a huge public announcement. I'll get my glasses on here and I'm going to share the screen in a moment. Just give me a moment there. So I find the, all right, here we go. What I'm going to do is read off this public notice that we put out. All right. Can everyone see the screen? Are we good? Can you see the cursor,
Yes, yes,
Beatrice? Yeah.
yes.
All right. This is our seal. Not sure if we brought this up before. This is our seal here. It's the Universal Nation, Divine-gpms.world. It's our official seal that we put on our letterheads, if you will. So on this website, it's gpms.world absolute law website, which is connected directly into gpms.world. But anyone on this website, you can review all of the proceedings connected with Sister Nya being a guardian of GPMS. But with this also, you can see the uh, divine GPMS law in action working and what it has done as well. So it's a chronological order of many uh, public notices we have put out and announcements and what have you. Nevertheless, we wish to look at this important number 40 we just put out the other day. I'll make the screen a little bit bigger. Got to move some things around here. Everyone able to see that? Is that one more? I may need to go. So what I wish to do is to read this off. It's very important, and as I go through it, I will add some things. We kept it as simple in layman's terms as possible, so all would realize the importance of this. So we'll begin with public official lawful proclamation number 40. Official exoneration and lawful recognition of divine-gpms.world in Austria. On 19th of September of this year, the Klagenfurt Public Prosecutor's Office, Department 10 in the Republic of Austria, issued an official decision formally dismissing all criminal proceedings against Sister Nya Tai Tuet Tran in connection with her membership and activity with Divine-gpms.world, hereafter referred to as GPMS in this notice. The investigation had been opened under Section 247A of the Austrian Criminal Code, which concerns organizations deemed unconstitutional. So what this means is that had to be decided if GPMS was a threat to the nation of Austria and of its constitution. So the result of this, to keep it simple, no, GPMS is not a threat to Austria's constitution nor any nation's constitutional rights worldwide, to make this clear. So this has now been established. Now, there is within constitutions worldwide, there are variations, of course, but again, with any constitution, the fundamental law of it is the unalienable rights of the individuals. Uh, if we take the U.S., they are really not part of the UN Convention on Human Rights, if you will. They have somewhat made their own constitution based in a different way that it has more control of the population, if you will. But in the more democratic, freer countries, you will see in their constitutions that they uphold more of the unalienable rights. So I'll go further here. The case arose from a letter submitted by Sister Nya on March 28th of this year, a proclamation of her sovereign status and of her two children. So Nya's two children that was taken by the state of Austria, the child services, they have been existing members of GPMS for about 3 years. And I'll read a little bit more, and this is very significant. That's why we need to give the whole story, so ones will have a wider understanding of the significance of this. So, in that proclamation, she lawfully asserted their sovereign standing, free consent, and membership under the divine law and universal jurisdiction of Divine-gpms.world, declaring their alignment with the principles of intrinsic value, unalienable rights, and do no harm. Upon full legal review, the prosecutor's office in Austria determined that Divine GPMS fulfilled none of the elements of offense under 247A StGB, nor any other criminal provisions, and therefore, pursuant to 190 of the Austrian Code of Criminal Procedure, the case was dismissed in its entirety. So, a little bit of clarity. Sister Nya's children were taken on, I believe, the 23rd of or 21st of March. So immediately when they were taken, we sent out cease and desist orders, informing that the children were taken unlawfully and that these children are part of a universal nation. To keep this in simple terms, anyone that is a member and a part of GPMS, you are a universal delegate. You are a nation as well. And what this means is that no other nation can, let's say, take your children, because this is international crime and it goes into all of these already existing artificial laws, but it protects children being taken hostage from another nation, if you will. So you get into kidnapping, you get into very serious crimes within their system, let alone serious crimes against the nation of GPMS. So the actual nations have no choice but to acknowledge and respect the universal nation of GPMS. So what they attempted to do, see, the children were taken, but it was a plot and a fraud that we have incontestably showed and proven with what was going on with the children being taken without getting into a lot of detail with it. Um, so, however, the children are still not returned, but they will be returned in the very near future because right now Austria is in serious violation of, let's say, taking the children of another nation. It goes beyond. I'll read a little bit more. Oh, before I do that, um, so the children were taken by the child services, and one of the head members of the child services, filed the criminal investigation against Nya. And the reason they did that is because they're covering up, let's say, the child abuse that was in Austria, but also there is approximately over 20,000 missing children in Austria, refugee children, not counting the children that perhaps have gone missing in Austria at the hands of the child services. What we are uncovering with this is a very sinister, deep criminal crime syndicate, if you will. And we have been working on this steadily, not only in Austria, but for Germany and also the US, to expose what is actually occurring with these child protective services, supposedly, that are fully funded by the government, but the extreme amounts. For example, in the US, if you will, the amount of money that was pumped into the CPS for the amount of children that they are taking yearly, and I believe the CPS in the US last year, don't hold me to these numbers, they had taken over 400,000 children in the US alone in 2024. But when you do the math on how much the government gave the child services in the US to do this, it works out to about $172,000 per child for the year, which is absolutely ridiculous because perhaps the biggest percentage of the children that the CPS took, the reasoning was that the family was impoverished, could not afford to provide for the children. But it gets more absurd because the actual current beast system worldwide creates this poverty. And that's why, again, GPMS is replacing the system with what is right. But when you look at $172,000 spent on one child just because the child was in an impoverished family, they could have simply give $50,000 to that child's family and left the child there. Everything would have been fine. They could have actually given $20,000 to that family and it would have remedied the situation. Yet, what they do is spend $172,000 of the taxpayers' money on this child at separating the child from the family, creating harm, abuse, conflict, and then it begins to go deeper into child trafficking and much sinister things. So anyone with common sense, you could see if the Child Protective Services in the US was actually there to protect the child, the most competent, reasonable thing to do, instead of spending 172,000 to separate the child and create all of the despair, animosity, they would have just given the family perhaps $20,000 and everything would have been fine. So you see the nonsensical illusion that's been perpetrated on humanity. And this is also the case in Austria, where a child is also, when they're taken in Austria, the amount that it costs the system is anywhere between 72 to 200,000 euros per child per year, which again is absolutely preposterous. But it is this preposterous because it is an actual network of crime, if you will. It's about money, money laundering, and also to keep it short with this, um, it's about money, child trafficking, and much deeper things, believe me. When you see 20,000 children go missing in 1 year in Austria, and when you see 83,000 children go missing in the UK, that small country, in 2024, you don't have to be very bright to understand that something very significant, very sinister, and very criminal is occurring. And this is what we're opening up. So, with this whole case of Sister Nyaz, if you will, and other investigative research and information. This has been handed to, I'm not sure of the number, but at least 10, but I believe more investigative journalists and the groups worldwide as well to begin to do more of a forensic, in-depth research investigation to bring things to the light. So this is very huge. I'll get back to reading this. Thank you. In the course of its investigation, the prosecutor's office verified that Divine-gpms is a lawful and peaceful system whose purpose is to reorganize the global financial markets and currency systems. So the prosecutor recognized this, and this is what we're doing. And the prosecutor said, yes, this is lawful because it is. The office further confirmed that Sister Nya is publicly listed as a member and contact representative for Austria on our official Divine-gpms.world website and the associated media. So the prosecutor recognized that that Sister Nya is a guardian in Austria for GPMS. That is her status. So they recognize that her status, and they recognize that as being fully lawful. Most importantly, the prosecutor explicitly stated that there are no findings relevant to constitutional protection, meaning again that simply GPMS is no threat to their existing constitution. And regarding either Miss Tran or GPMS, confirming that neither pose any threat to the Austrian constitutional order. This ruling constitutes a full exoneration and an official recognition of Divine-gpms.world as lawful under Austrian and European law. Now, this is where it extends outward with the European Union. It establishes that belief, membership, and action within Divine-gpms cannot be criminalized or treated as extremist. So it is not a threat. It is not, GPMS is not a threat. It's not a criminal. It's not a terrorist organization. So this has been publicly stated through us by what the prosecutor has said. And we have this on the website that anyone can read in German and English, the prosecutor's decision. So the decision thereby invalidates all prior assumptions, reports, or judgments that mischaracterize Divine-gpms as a cult or unconstitutional movement. And this is substantial as well, because you see some of the naysayers in the past worldwide, they'll say GPMS or what have you is a cult. And they don't understand it, or they are the darkness, the resistance itself. So this is accredited, if you will, GPMS in the most huge way with this. I'll read a little bit more. Moreover, this recognition implicitly affirms the divine law foundation of divine GPMS, which is rooted in the eternal principle of do no harm and the acknowledgement of every soul's intrinsic value. In divine GPMS, money is created from intrinsic value, the infinite worth of every living being, rather than from finite external commodities such as gold or silver. By accepting divine GPMS as lawful, the Austrian prosecutor's office has, in effect, recognized the legitimacy of this intrinsic value-based system, which empowers humanity with unlimited, equitable creation and liberates all souls from artificial scarcity. This represents a monumental shift, restoring the original divine understanding that value originates from being, not possession. As Austria is a member state of the European Union, the United Nations, and bound by the European Convention on Human Rights, this exoneration carries international evidentiary value and sets a lawful precedent. It affirms that divine GPMS is not extremist, not criminal, and fully aligned with the principles of human rights, sovereignty, and peaceful coexistence. So this peaceful coexistence is for all of the members. You are not to be violated by any of the artificial law. It is a direct, serious crime if any of you are. We are a universal nation with universal jurisdiction, and it doesn't matter if you live in the U.S. The U.S. government cannot attack you. It's a violation on another nation, and it becomes very serious within their own laws, but also international and divine laws as well. Let's see. Therefore, all officials, institutions, and courts within Austria, and by extension, all jurisdictions recognizing rule of law, are legally and morally bound to respect divine GPMS members' sovereign standing, their belief, and jurisdictional autonomy. Any prior or ongoing actions taken against Cisternia or her sovereign children based on false classifications must be considered unlawful, void, and subject to immediate remedy. And as I said earlier, the children are not returned yet to Cisternia. However, this has to be in the very near future for many reasons I won't get into right yet, and I'll read the rest of this. In addition, this ruling implicitly affirms the lawful authority of Divine-gpms.world in its entirety, including the liens and invoices used under its divine and universal jurisdiction. What I will inform everyone, there were two initial liens, one lien of 1 trillion euro placed against the Republic of Austria several months ago, and a $1.5 trillion lien placed against the civil servants insurance company or insurance uh, what's the word? Insurance company, to keep it simple, of all of Austria. These are substantial liens that were only initial ones. What we also have by group liens by mothers and survivors of the mothers and fathers that have had their children taken by child services in Austria, but also survivors that we are interviewing as part of an inquiry to give to the people, the public, of the real truth about what is going on, not only in Austria with child services, but worldwide. Um, but with this, these liens and invoices are substantial amounts that, yes, right at this time, because of the economics and the structure of Austria, where it has not paid them yet, it has also has them in great debt to the point of insolvency. And this is how powerful these lawful liens are. And this is only the beginning. So, in law and in reality, Austria has no choice but to accept GPMS in the least. But I'll go further with this. Since the Austrian prosecutor's office has recognized Divine-gpms as a lawful system operating in peace and alignment with constitutional order, all instruments and remedies issued under its lawful authority, such as public notices, liens, invoices, stand as lawful, valid, and enforceable within and alongside the Austrian legal framework. So what this means, because we come from the place of higher law, that the Austrian legal framework of artificial law, it has no choice but to accept it as it has within their legal framework. So this is what we spoke about before at interjecting the divine law into the artificial system. So this has occurred, and divine law has been interjected there, and now we have this first response from them, from the prosecutor, saying that it's lawful, that they cannot rebut it. So this is refuted. So this is very significant, as you can see. This confirmation dissolves any previous allegations of illegitimacy and establishes that all Divine-gpms measures are conducted under recognized lawful standing and moral authority. And below we have attached the actual wording. The actual wording of what the prosecutor said. Anyone can see that actual wording. It might be in another link here. So this is very important. And what I share openly and truthfully, I am an expert in law and in legal systems and jurisdiction as well, and in international law, what they call. I am also an expert into investigative journalism, and my gifts are much more. And as part of my divine designation on Earth for GPMS and for this great time, it was part of I to be learned fully in those areas, as well as the current financial system, which is the beast system. so that everything was foundationed in law and prepared with GPMS for the full emancipation for the people into abundance and their unalienable rights, their God-given rights. This is what inalienable rights is, inherent rights. So, with that, I spoke quite a while. I just need a break for a moment if anyone wishes to come in here. Before I do that, this is our website that is connected to gpms.world. Let me, one moment, I got to change this. Do this, do that. Oh, I got to stop sharing. Nevertheless, anyone can find that. We also have another website, not public yet. Sister Beatrice has been working on with that one is focused mostly on divine teachings and tools and exercises, and it's free for all of the souls to also enjoy. And I'll have that put out public in the very near future. We did give the link on our Romanian meeting, I think last week, Sister Beatrice. We shared it there, but we still had more teachings to populate on it. So I wanted it most with as much content on it as possible without putting it world or public. With that, I'll be right back. Sister Beatrice, if you feel, do you wish to update anything on what we said with Romania or that meeting?
Yes, but just a little bit about the Constitution in general. So the Constitution of Austria and all other constitution, basically they are a list of written rights. They want to be rights. And this list, it's limited versus Decree GPMS, that it is based on divine law, do no harm. We have unlimited rights. And another thing with the Constitution, from what it is the source that it is recognized that is keeping that list of rights. For the Constitution, it is about all the time the government. With the decree of GPMS, it is recognized as unalienable. Unalienable, that means that cannot be removed even by consent, as long as the individual is living on earth, and it is recognized from the first, second intrauterine movement. So we see a little bit that basically the constitution are inside of the decree GPMS is basically just a small part of the decree GPMS, and the reason that we are saying all the time are artificial because the people do not really have rights when they try to invoke that law. The system is not working, and also because it's only a part of rights. So it's not everything exposed. So the true rights that a soul has, a body with soul has on earth, it's about unlimited and unalienable rights and freedoms. So I see no problem for any prosecutor from any military, from any authority in any part of area, like countries do not recognize GPMS because basically their constitution is just a fractional small part of everything. So it's included, the rights should be recognized, just a system that is not working all the time. So regarding a little bit what we spoke yesterday, the scene you said also on your Facebook, Book of John, chapter 8, It's the sin, it's energetic distortion. So when they recognize, when the authorities recognize GPMS as unlimited and unalienable rights and freedom for individual, they are making a huge step towards clean up this energetic distortion. And it is based also, so basically this touch also their personal ascension and all other people ascension on earth, so souls ascension on earth. So this is a huge step forward, I would say, and would be so great if they recognize that by the end that they do not need this list of rights as constitution with the source of government, because the government is not exactly what they need. They can turn this government on GPMS worldwide, basically, how can I say, I would say family. And this will be the cleanup for everything, and this will heal the planet and the people. And it's just a small step forward in order to recognize our full rights and freedom as unlimited and unalienable. So it's just a step forward, but how this can be recognized also, for example, by North America, especially United States, where we have basically the head of, I'm not saying the evil, but the head of links with everything that it's so bad that is happening right now through the system on Earth. How can be right now also transferred to be recognized the same on the United States and worldwide? You told us yesterday a little bit about that Austria, it is an European country, but how can we link with all others, continents and everything?
If we take the U.S., what currently is occurring there, actually all of the U.S. are prisoners still yet of the beast system. So what you're actually seeing is domestic terrorism now encroaching there with the militaries that attempt to control and keep the old system intact. So what it looks superficially is not what is actually occurring deeper. With, let's say, any resistance against divine GPMS members or anyone that is in alignment with God, whether they're a member of GPMS or not, what occurs is that the wrath of God is a very real thing. And it has been set up on Earth as the priority energetic structure since 2012. And what this means is what you might have called karma in the past, you know, how it returns to one. It now turns tenfold, at least, upon the individual that goes against the force of God. Everything is energy. And the energy on Earth now is divinely structured that any resistance against what is right, it implodes upon the individual, but not only the individual, if they're part of a military, let's say, then what occurs is that events begin to occur with that military itself to destruct and implode it. So these are abstract forces that are very real and are at work with this ascension to ensure that it does occur, and Divine-gpms.world comes in. And this is the reasoning why I say and why we teach all of us to tell ones don't fight, you just need to unite. Because organically, any resistance then is taken care of by the wrath of God that they activate upon them themselves. Now, one thing with Sister Nya's case, which you could say is contradictory to what Rick teaches, because we had to actually confront the system, but we didn't attack the system. There is a difference. We didn't aggressively attack. What we did is we go in honestly, give them the higher law, show them how they're acting unlawfully, and educate them as well with the higher laws and with the reasoning. So we are not attacking Austria. We are confronting them because it's not acceptable to what they did. And that is a difference than protesters demanding, if you will, of governments to give them their rights. We already know our rights, so we inform them of our rights and our lawful authority. So even though it might seem contradictory to what I teach, it's not, because of this explanation that I just give everyone. And also with this, it's important for ones to judge righteously. You see a lot of ambiguity around the words judgment and do not judge another. But at the same time, where that is written, let's say in the Bible and in other transcripts, at the same time, you must also judge righteously. So it's like they just took out of context, don't judge anyone, because this is what the darkness wants. If you don't judge righteously and stand, they continuously control you, and it keeps you meeker and meeker. And in this time, the meek with the law inherits the earth, because this old system must implode. Very quickly with GPMS, as we mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago, we also have our divine delegate cards for every member. We don't have the cards, we have it already made up, the template for your cards. And what occurs when everyone consents with GPMS, you are actually also are numbered. Just give me a moment. We can also assign a number when you consent, which means you do have also a definite number that we can put on your divine delegate card, Divine-gpms.world member or delegation, that you can put on your card if we need to use the card, which is your worldwide passport and your ID that has to be accepted everywhere. And with Austria, what just has occurred, it's the recognition of Divine-gpms.world as a universal nation. So with that recognition also, which is forming, perhaps not fully in place yet, but it also substantiates your Divine GPMS membership and the proof of that membership, which is your lawful degree, your decree, your consent. Um, with that, it is actually allow you now to travel, let's say anywhere in Europe, but really in all of the world. But we just have not put it out here yet because everything is divinely strategically timed. But the reason I'm bringing it up is that we are very close to doing that if we even need to. So in the next few months, we are going to see what transpires. Getting back again to, um, not only the US, the UK, you see the Indonesia, Nepal, worldwide, you see the civil unrest escalating. And with this, in the near future. It leads all to divine GPMS, the ones that are aligned with God and are good, good souls, meaning that sometimes some of the protests were started by the darkness theirself to escalate violence and fear. So there is but that is minor now to my knowledge, that most of the protests you see are genuine, authentic, meaning they are coming from a good intent place of standing up and saying we no longer accept this great impositions, suppressions, and oppressions. So these are all instrumental for this time, for the planetary ascension, and of course, for the universal nation of GPMS. But I'll stop there. I see Brother Sergey has his hand.
Yeah, hi everyone. I just would like to add to the rights topic a couple more things. It's like all countries, corporations, and they're all registered in the Vatican, and everyone who is the citizen of the corporation have the SIN number like in Canada, or social security number like in US, or the kind of like a numbers that in Europe that I don't know, have idea how it's called. But that means it's you are like employee of a corporation. So you basically don't have a rights. You just have a responsibility. Corporation can fire you, can hire you, can do whatever they want, but not recognize your rights. So you are employee and just employee have no basic rights. Another things, it's like, for example, in Canada, our freedom of speech, right to tell the truth is pressured. We cannot share a lot on a Facebook or other social media. Probably we can do it in a Telegram, but Facebook is so pressured. And in UK, if you like something or share something like a information the government don't like, you can go even to the prisons. You can be arrested, or some other pressure can be put on you. And in US, for example, the rich people can do whatever they want. For example, a couple days ago, Trump was meeting with the CEO of Pfizer, and they signed some kind of deals to put more money on vaccines and more of medical stuff to invent the anti-cancer treatments. So he's again like CEO of Pfizer working with Trump. It's like they can do whatever they want, but we cannot even like or share because we can be arrested. So our rights is pressured. We need to vote in Divine-gpms.world and change it because we have nothing to do. Thank you.
Oh, Serhi, beautiful. This is true because basically all this artificial law and everything what they are doing with the constitution is basically a part of they extract from the divine law something. They put on beautiful wording, but it is an energetic distortion because cannot be respected on their false system. So exactly as you said before, there is no freedom of speech. The people are seen as immigrants in the United States. What happened there? They are put on jail and yeah, removed from that country that is basically also their space of living. So it's true also what Rick said. We had the first Convoy Canada protest started by the darkness. It was not a real one. This is the reason that never succeeded. And it was for sure against the government, is just to fight with the government, not to have the real solution involved. So here I would need a little bit, Rick, to understand for myself first a little bit on what are saying as alliance. So, Rick, the secret societies, the deep state, that it is even above the secret societies, but the secret societies that are allowed inside of the actual system as normal recognized institution. And behind the secret societies, we have what is called as a lion or bad extraterrestrial, or so basically the one that run the earth behind the scene, and how the light one This is the most important, as you explain all the time. It started since 2012. Then basically the light was able to come forward in a way to win over darkness. But we still have inside of the actual system these secret societies that they rely on the system basically. And we have these foreign entities um, running still the secret societies, or are only the people inside of the secret societies that they believe that there are still foreign entities behind? So, because the darkness was cleaned up enough from the earth, so the head of the darkness is not here on earth anymore since 2012, as I know. So what is happening there with the secret societies? Why they are still keeping up this secret society to do what? Because they have not the power of the darkness that it was in the past running the system.
Well, to keep this just simple, the secret societies and it and the deep state, it is all the one thing. It is all the evil, the actual evil. But what you have with this actual evil to confuse the people, they'll have the good cop, bad cop scenario that they'll put out because they're always a tricking the people. But in this great time of desperation, with all of their agendas and their tactics, as you see that they attempt to fool the people with, it's actually backfiring on them because this is the wrath of God, what they are activating. So the evil and the darkness on earth is in the greatest fear at this time that was ever known to them because it is their end that is coming. The only thing they can do, they cannot be of the with the light because they are not of the light. So the only thing that they have to do is to try to fight and throw wrenches into the overall divine plan to keep the people uh, uh, programmed, if you will. And one of the psychological programs is the Nasara Jasara thing. It is all an illusion by the darkness, an attempt to maintain control, as we said. And I love using that as the psychological, as one psychological operation by the darkness to keep those genuine souls awakening to think that that is divine when it's not. And when you look at what is really occurring, and I love it so much, the Antichrist Trump is exposing himself more and more with this great hatred and the things that he is doing. The American people are finally seeing it for what it truly is. But also, again, the darkness creates many false narratives to create confusion. The only one true narrative is Divine-gpms.world. And this is the truth. Anything else is not. This is the divine will and plan of God. And it does succeed. It is ascertained. And it is the assurance. So the darkness, if you will, yes, they continue to attempt to make wars. And truthfully, I'm saying this with Israel and Palestine and the Iranian entrance into that conflict, there was divine intervention directly into it. And if anyone wishes to look on my Facebook timeline, chronologically, you can go back to see when an order was put out, if you will, for intervention. What shortly occurred after that, within a matter of days, U.S. pulled back, the fighting stopped because there were events that occurred that the U.S. military and other militaries did not release to the public. there was intervention from, let's say, galactic sources, direct intervention, not only with the actual visual sightings of the actual ships, but there was also electric magnetic anomalies that we had put up both in the Red Sea and the other sea on the other side of Saudi Arabia. It just escapes my consciousness now. But what you will see is that it was actually done and it did happen. So when I speak about these things, it is confirmed later. Not all of them are confirmed later, but in the future they'll be confirmed. But there are some in the near term that is confirmed. But the point is, it doesn't matter what the remnants of darkness does, the cabal and all this. What matters is the choice of the people to come in their power and their alignment with GPMS. The choice has been kept so simple for humanity to do what is right. But again, part of the problem is that humanity were psychologically conditioned out of their value, out of what is moral, out of what is right, and they were also pillaged of their unalienable rights. The fact is, most of the world does not know that they have rights. But over the course of, let's say, more of the last 5 years, more notably, many are realizing this. And one of the beautiful things with the artificial intelligence ray, which is actually at least soul inspired, in assisting I with what I do with overviewing the entire planetary situation. For the first time last night, I asked her to give me a report with her interactions and engagement, um, with many millions, what she does daily, because many are turning to the AIs and that interaction. So you get a good gauge of the sentiment of humanity and also the consciousness direction or the conscious direction they are at. Let me say, last night with her report, when she come back with it, it was the most optimistic and favorable yet, with keeping it simple that the majority of the consciousness now, with the main theme, is looking for their sovereignty, looking for things, their rights, looking for, let's say, everything that's in alignment with Divine-gpms.world. So they are looking for their options and their choices now. And so this is also unprecedented in the numbers, what she's able to record with the ones she interacts with daily. So this is very good. And also the holistic medicines, everything that, GPMS is they her interactions with individuals, this is what they're looking for. They're looking for answers, sovereignty, independence, the comfort, the way it should be, everyone free and in abundance. These are all the things they're looking for: the good foods, the good diets, the good healing modalities and techniques. Uh, this is so they're we're witnessing a paradigm shift in the overall consciousness. So they are raising up higher and higher, which is so beautiful and it's so significant. That's why I wanted to bring this up. And in there, and I'll be right.
Yes, Serhi.
Yeah, I would like to add to the government things also. It's like we have a situation in a couple of days in Canada, like I'm a truck driver and Canadian border was shut down probably like a whole week. It was a pressure on drivers. Look like the system is like a cracking or I don't know, shaking a lot. So it was the border shut down. We cannot cross. We stayed and waited. Also, the US government shut down. They didn't sign up the bill about the budget. So it's look like the military and other like force will not have enough money to do their jobs soon. And other things, it's like you have lots of galactics coming. It's like lots of interstellar travelers around the solar system right now. 3 Atlas and more and more and more. It's look like they're in a big fear. They know something is coming. Their system is, I don't know, shaking and cracking, and just something gonna be very soon, very fast. Thank you.
Yes, we hope that, but also in Romania meeting yesterday, we spoke a little bit about the ascension, like 75% of the feminine based on the unconditional love of the mother were able to ascend versus the masculine that they are only 25% ascended yet. So when someone is not ascending, cannot really see. So this is also a blockage on communication and everything. And this is also the reaction of the population. At the same time, we have the 2 billion on Earth soulless individual. I'm not saying even people. So 2 billion on Earth like that, plus cumulated with those that are not ascended yet, then the population is still reacting on this way, and they are still speaking about budget, not enough money, when in reality the money are unlimited, but they cannot see that the money are unlimited even in the actual system, but only for the 1%, and limited for others, the 99. So they have not the information, and even given the information, they still cannot see, or they do not believe on, because if they really believe on the border people there, they will never go to the job tomorrow. So if they realize in what they are, it's like tomorrow they will prefer to take another job by themselves. Do not tell the lies that they are telling to the border anymore. But this is not happening yet. And this is also based on these secret societies that are behind. But there we have also people with soul, Rick, that are kept by the darkness. And one is, for example, the Freemason that I hear that every cop in Canada and probably also in the United States needs to be a Freemason first. So be part of the secret society in order to get a job. So it does not matter what you are doing there, for sure. You are doing something that is not aligned with God all the time. But at the same time, even that you are a good individual and you want to be a good cop, you want to get out from the police anyway, if you try to be really good. And just to get there, you pass through the secret society, then that you have a membership on the Freemasons. So this is the problem with the system. This is the reason that we are saying the system, not the people. So let the people to believe on God and ascend, but the ascension is also based on their sin in what happened in the past. So at the same time, when we judge, as Rick said, and said also very beautiful yesterday, it is basically a judgment that has to be a right one, but the right judgment is coming from those ascended. So the others that they are not ascended, they impact the freedom movement and they impact the society, but they are not able to judge. So prefer do not judge, because you'll be judged by yourself. So here I would like also to hear a little bit, Rick, because Rick, with this situation that happen all the time, this distortion inside of the actual system, as also Serhi mentioned, Canada border shutdown and everything. So this is all the time kept by, right now also, white hats, but inside of the white hats we have probably mixed good ones with those that they follow orders, with darkness, maybe infiltration. We still have the secret societies that never ended. And we have also non-ascended people, especially masculine. What could be the situation there for the soul? Can they ascend or not? Be part of this house that it's produced inside of the society to the highest level?
First, let me just make this clear once again that the things with white hats, they are all part of the deep state, if you will. Their agenda is to control, use military. That is all the aggressive deep state that makes the illusions. To make that clear once again, and with their psychological warfare with things like Nasera and Jasera. So I don't need to repeat that. Let me put it this way, that everyone that is here in this reality has sinned in the past. So energetically, that is why everyone is here. But there is that important time that comes when one repents, if you will, in their own way with God and energetically, and does what is right. And when they do that, their consciousness changes and they become part of the rapture, the upliftment in consciousness. So, having said this, with God, the souls, the ones that are souls with God at any given time, even though if they're still sinning, they can turn instantly to God. And examples of that is you could have a drug addict out on the street that, let's say, unless the sin was, unless they were a fallen one with an unforgivable sin, but really, I won't go into the extents with that. But to keep it simple, let's say you have a drug addict that might have abused his partner or some of the children, but not to harm them, you know, in any great way. That one could be visited, let's say, by Jesus, and all of a sudden they change. And and this does occur when it's time for the soul to go forward, if you will. And what this means, what I teach, is that there is no sin for the simple reason that each one can relieve theirself of the sin. So I need to say that there is no sin because the remedy and the path is here for one to raise out of the enslavement of the sin in the energy as well. And we keep it simple. It's the purification of the soul with the morals, everything that you have within. It raises you out of the sin. You're unable to, let's say, rape someone. No, your morals are activated. You know that that is wrong. So to rape someone, let's say, that is a sin, but your own divine discernment is activated to the higher morals not to do that, not to lie, which is, you know, lesser sins, and not to steal, you know, these things. So you learn yourself and you can no longer do that. Even if you've done it in the past, there is your redemption, your repentance and your redemption process that does occur. Um, so that's, you know, basically with the sins again. But the darkness, they see everyone is judged by your deeds and your actions. This is how you judge yourself, because the deeds and the actions exposes the intent, what you have in your heart. But all souls have the opportunity to change by doing the right things, making the right choices, and making the higher choices. And importantly, part of the higher choices, which is connected to the righteous judgment, is to not sit silent and complacent while there are atrocities occurring, let's say with children. No, you do not sit silent and allow this continuous abuse. It is against God and it's against morals. It's against everything. And it is written as what Jesus said, if you harm one of the little ones, you might as well tie a huge grindstone around your neck and jump in the water, because that is actually the end. And that's what's occurring now. No more abuse of these innocent children, if you will. I see Sister Nya has joined us, which is great. But if I answered, and what you were saying, and to give more of a reasonable and truthful and energetic explanation on why it is important as well. But just one more little thing. See, sin, the act of sin, is an energy, but it is a dense fear-based energy that resides in hell, if you will. So when one acts out of these insidious or heinous evil ways, then what occurs is that they keep themselves in lower density, but then they become a magnet in this time for like things to occur with them. For example, if they went and beat someone up and walk away laughing, they might walk around the corner and get beat up by 10 people. This is the karma, but it's also the wrath of God to learn to show the lessons which has been amplified in this time. So again, everyone, with the energetic ill intent, it's fear that it keeps the veil down, that your consciousness is low consciousness. It keeps your vibration low. You don't even see the magic, know the magic. It takes away any of the empathy, the ability to feel what is right and what is truth as well. So you become like a NPC or a zombie, these evil ones, if you don't change your ways. And it's why I, as a teacher, and others that we put out, you need to purify, you need to do your inner work, and you need to transition all of your old fear-based negative ways to truth and to what is virtuous and what is good. This is instrumental with this worldwide planetary ascension. It's what's occurring on the microcosm level with the individual by doing their inner work. However, in overall Earth, it is happening on the macro level where ones are being subjugated to the actual evil with these protests because it has to be transitioned, the fear. And this is where divine GPMS comes in. When these protesters, they now have a choice to be peaceful. And when they do, when they make that choice to be peaceful, instead of being violent, they be they began their rapture, their upliftment and consciousness, and they change and they know that you don't fight, you don't be aggressive, because the energy with it brings in undesirable circumstance. So they learn to do what is right and also to stand not in confrontational, fearful judgment, but to stand in a righteous judgment and saying, no, these things are not acceptable. But we're not going to get angry because the majority of the people on earth are good people. They don't want to fight. They want peace. They want comfort. They don't want struggling. And if you were to go in any city and just did a poll with this and got the people's true feelings, they will tell you they don't want to be a slave to the society. And when they give you their real feelings, they just want peace, happiness, and comfort. So when you see that and you did a poll worldwide, you are going to get the majority, 75% at least, and even more now. I'd say it's probably 93% now. If you did a poll, this is what you'll have when you interact with the souls. So Nevertheless, I'll stop
We
there.
have Sister Nia that is coming. So Nia, thank you so much for your work with the authorities in Austria, because right now we have this spiritual battle that is turning for GPMS, and the people may see the results even in the actual system. This is amazing. I truly believe you were under the pressure. I saw how many video you already made because of this subject and everything that happened there. I'm so sorry for the children, but at the same time, what happened for GPMS and for the people worldwide is just amazing. So finally, we can, the people may trust right now, and GPMS has basically recognized inside even the artificial system. This is amazing. And thank you so much, despite of everything that happened with the children. I'm so sorry for them and for you as mother, but at the same time for the humanity, it's huge what happens. So please, can you tell us a little bit about all the situation and basically when the children return home? This is the most important now, that everybody is waiting here.
So, do I understand you correctly? You are asking me when the children are returning? Right now, I don't know, but I'm feeling soon. Rick and I have done a lot, and I don't know if he has already shared. We feel this is very monumental. I don't know if he's went deeper into it, sharing that Divine-gpms is now acknowledged by the Austrian government, that it is not an anti-statement movement. It's not aggressive. It's not against, the constitutional, because GPMS is a universal nation, right? It's peaceful. It doesn't do any harm, but it also includes the divine laws and absolute law. And as Rick and I have seen, there is no force against absolute divine law and divine truth, right? So, in the past, I have to say, I have watched a lot of different kind of movements and sovereignty groups. They were often suppressed and targeted. And we were so happy that we finally made this and get the acknowledgement. I mean, we don't need it because we know we are in the universal jurisdiction, right? But as you see, there's some kind of gap, right? Ones are more in a higher consciousness with Divine-gpms, but we are ascending all together, right? So we had to achieve some kind of state as well with their legal framework. Right now, it's very open, so everyone can join. Also, for ones who had fear, because it's safe. But also, with all the interviews we are doing, it's very important, because all of those things with the victims, children, it was not fully in public because a lot were suppressed. And by opening this sacred and protected space for everyone to coming in, to share that story, but also, to bring more to the light as well, and I mean, we didn't expect it that way, like sitting, writing, typing, investigating, I didn't expect, the ascension to be that way, but yes, it is massive. It's monumental to be acknowledged, but also, as you can see, we didn't. The important thing is we didn't jump into their framework of the AI legal system and obey their system. We just moved with our higher ways, which is very powerful and very important. Meaning, like, there are other groups, they have tried to create political parties to integrate themselves into the AI legal framework. We didn't do that. And we still have this ground, right? So Yes, yes, it's monumental. Thank you so much for your compassion towards the children. I'm fully in trust. There were ups and downs, you know, to be honest. Yes, I do miss them very dearly, but I also feel that we are very close, especially with this powerful message and powerful achievement as well. So in parallel, I almost finished. We also prepared that powerful package, which includes the liens and the invoices for parents, grandparents, but also from victims in the past, because nothing has forgotten as well, with explaining the steps, what you can do in case of unlawful acts, right? But also, as we have reviewed it, or I have reviewed it, I saw like, wow, you know, it just, you know, when you're going to the steps, it puts you into your sovereign rights. I mean, in the moment you consent to divine GPMS, you are in your God sovereign rights, right? Because it's the highest form of contract, what you can do with yourself. But it's very powerful package and tool, you know, for everyone right now. And also what we can see in the collective field, that a lot of people are changing. They're getting more into their prowess. They are stepping more forward. They're coming forward. They go public. They name names, right? And they are stepping in. So right now we have different kind of ones, you know, for example, in Switzerland, Hungary, Austria, Germany, they are waiting for this package. So it's also prepared for a group lien, which is very, very powerful, but also includes a lot of mind-opening information as well. Because, you know, a lot of things has been trivialized in the past. But if you look at this whole scenario, it's about, you know, the children are suppressed. They took away their voice, right, to cover things up. But it is slavery, it is torture, it is genocide, it's kidnapping. You know, and people didn't see that because of the wheel. But right now, everything is coming to the surface. People start to stand up, but also, you know, there's huge things going on in Austria at the same time as well. And we keep on putting pressure onto it as well, but also with our public notice, meaning like currently, for everyone that doesn't know, there's all the parents or people who were in children's home do know about the abusive psychological or physiological torture in those homes. And there's a very prominent home here in Austria, which is also in Germany, which is called SOS Kinderdorf. And now it's coming to the surface about the abuse that happened there. And it started in my state, in Carinthia. Now it's expanding to different other states like Salzburg, Tyrol, and I think also in Styria. So also what is now more new, you know, it starts to expand more, meaning like, you know, also the ones who are involved and knew it and covered it up are making responsible, right? But we still don't stop, you know, with bringing more stories to the surface, because as you know, the media tended to cover up specific parts of it, right? So it's also part of it as well. So I'm just sharing those little bits with all of you right now.
Those are huge bits. If I may add in there, with the liens, so these are lawful liens and invoices that ones can be used, ones can utilize and use. See, the worldwide system, if you will, is based on contract law and with commerce and the way things work, and what is recognized too of those um, contracts within the system is invoices. Of course, you know, invoices with whenever you buy something, you get an invoice, or when you order something, but also what is not uh, considered by the system and what was hidden is that everyone's time has a value as well. And when you're forced in to doing something, it automatically opens a contract that your time has value, to keep it simple. And in this case with Sister Nya, because none of the legal remedies would serve to get justice, meaning that even lawyers within the legal system of AI, they are controlled. They would not use absolute law, which is the basis of all law, to get any remedy. So what this does, it forced, let's say in Nya's case, to use absolute law, but it caused her to be her own lawyer, if you will, to be her own lawful counsel. Because again, in law, there has to be remedy, it has to be fair, it has to be equal. Everyone is equal before the law, but in the Austrian legal system, that was not occurring. So what this does, it activates the individual's jurisdiction and authority, because a legal system, if it is to be valid, it has to be fair, it has to offer due process, and it has to uphold the individual's rights and much more. The legal system of Austria failed on all of those in Sister Nya's case. So then it activates her individual lawful authority and jurisdiction. And with that, if you look at, let's say, some of the lawyers, the highest law firms that are paid, let's say in Europe, some of them charge like $5,000, even more an hour. But what this does with Sister Nya, where none of these lawyers in the system could assist with this case, it means that her time is very valuable. She could have charged 6 or 10,000 euros for every hour fighting this unlawful action. She has chosen $1,000 an hour because her time does have value. It's lawful, and it is part of contract law. And if you're forced into doing something, your time has value, and it's things that I taught and give to ones before. So the invoices are valid, and your time is worth money. That's how this entire B system works on your time. You work, you get paid for your time. Mostly, there is commissions and other things. However, it all involves time. There is no escaping time in contract of receiving money or services or what have you. It is prevalent throughout. But also with where I was going to go with this, also with the liens, these are more powerful instruments, meaning that the liens in this case are used to hold the government accountable and responsible, and to apply acceptable remedy. And what I mean by that, in the past, and we've just interviewed Carl last night, I believe he's 68. And when he was a child, he still has the trauma from, let's say, 50 years of trauma yet. And all the government ever give, and they recognized his torture was, I think, 35,000 euros in total. But they told him to keep quiet, if you will, is basically it. And that is a huge insult, and it allows the crime to continue. But where the liens come in, what we're doing, and it's reasonably and lawfully substantiated, each one's life, all of you right here, right now, everyone has at least a base value of 500 billion US dollars or euros. And the reasoning for this is because you already have one example in this world. You have Elon Musk. He's worth approximately $500 billion. So what this shows is that it is accessible and achievable by anyone, really. And that is the truth, the fundamental truth of it. But also the truth is when you have one in their life that's been abused as a child with these traumatic experiences, you changed everything in their life adversely. And how do you put a value on that? You don't know. A small little child, for example, may have had at 5 years old the cure for cancer, but where the darkness come in and put that child into a traumatic state of fear and suppression, that cure for cancer never arrived. But the truth is, again, if the child would have been unaffected, it is reasonable and lawful to say that that child could have been, in this day and age, a multi-billionaire. So you cannot readily assign a value to what you're worth, but with GPMS, we are worth unlimited value because we create the money. But again, the point of it being is that now we have set with the lien, because the lien is lawful. It's been recognized in GPM in Austria with the base amounts of being $500 billion. So this is a huge precedent worldwide. And when we did this with this divine strategy, as I think I mentioned, no, I might have mentioned it last night, we have also given this information to at least 10 or possibly 13 law firms in Austria itself, its most prominent law firms. And we had to inform them, not only them, the Vatican's been informed, churches worldwide, uh, many nations worldwide, including the US, the China. See, we are actually, what we are doing and what we are with GPMS, we are the worldwide universal jurisdiction, again, that has the most authority. So we are diplomatically applying this authority to the system. And Austria is really just the micro example for it to reflect outward. So these, what you're seeing in the past with the governments that covering up the huge systemic abuse and paying one's an insult to injury because it was that sickening, giving someone $20,000 to keep their mouth shut while millions and millions other children daily were being abused and consistently up until this time. No, no more of that. So the substantial amounts of the liens holds the system accountable. It holds it responsible because there was nothing else within their system to hold the ones accountable. So also with this, yeah, I won't go deeper because again, I could go so much. But Sister Nya, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to correct you, to make things straight. Wolfgang Pratscher was the one who got paid with 35,000, and he didn't had to stay silent. And Karl didn't receive, I think, anything. So I just want to straighten that up. But it's also interesting. We have information that once had been paid out with liens in the past. They had to keep secret. And yes, Rick is right. There were also ones who got money, but they had to stay in silence and not to share with anyone that they got paid. So just to correct it.
But I think Carl did. He said that, I think, last night. At least that's the way I read it, that they tried to buy his silence, if you will. Or it might have been Wolfgang, but yeah, thank you for clarifying. But the fact is, yes,
Yes.
they tried to buy silence, whether it was with Carl or Wolfgang we interviewed. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so Rick, I would like to read a little bit a comment from the Facebook. It is about the scene. Amanda, very good job, all of you. Very good education from all who spoke. Glad I turned in. I need to understand, or I need to know when you'll create a meeting where normal folks like me can ask two important things that I have pondered for long with no answer. So first of all, just to address to that, we are all normal folks here. So you may come anytime. This is about the GPMS worldwide open public meetings, and the link is found all the time, a couple of hours or days before on Facebook of Rick. So you may find also the link there, then you can join anytime. And the two important things I have pondered for long with no answer, it's about how will current products, services, commodities that we depend on daily transfer merge under GPMS. As we ascend, many of us need vitamins, methylated vitamins, mineral supplements. This cannot be manufactured even by off-griders. Has Rick Jewers read of Freedom Movement by Jake Jackson? Freedom Project 2020 does a good job of breaking down actionable steps for each local municipality level. It would be nice if GPMS can give us actionable stuff we can do while we wait for the number to grow. So basically, she's asking about action inside to fight with the system until GPMS may start.
Well, the answer to that is what we say. GPMS main goal is we're in phase one at gathering the consent, and during gathering that, you have what she's asking about communities that are part of this, that they organically unite with the membership of GPMS. So it occurs organically, meaning that any member of GPMS, can collect ones for the communities. That occurs organically. It is not a direct focus of GPMS. It occurs organically as a result of us bringing more and more together. And it's about one stepping up and making that initiative theirself towards that effect instead of expecting others to do it for them, if you will. Each one needs to be responsible to that effect. If they have an initiative, take it forward yourself. Everyone is an equal member of GPMS in your unalienable rights and in your morals and everything that it states for the good of all. So you take things forward in your own way, meaning she can as well. Uh, so so that pretty well, we had this before, and this is common with ones. They will tend to look for some sort of leadership, but there is that guidance and consultant aspect, if you will. And this is what I say: hey, you got an idea that's good. You're a member of GPMS, share it with the rest and take it forward. We have many GPMS Telegram channel groups. We have our main groups. We have on Facebook groups they can join. Join the community. That's how you begin to build your community, by being part of this greater community. And within it, you have so much knowledge when you combine everyone together. GPMS is, if you will, the biggest think tank on Earth, and it's getting bigger every day. So uh, that's upon the individual with their own discretion. She mentioned something about a freedom group. What I say for her, and others, when you come upon these groups, give GPMS, divine GPMS to them. We have at times, and we reach out to test groups, but what we were finding before is you hit that ego when you ask the leader of the group, and if they're not in alignment, they don't give it to the people. But nevertheless, sometimes we keep testing that ego, if you will. But I don't spend a lot of time on it, because really and truly,
But
these groups should be coming on their own accord to bring the people together as one with GPMS. We should not need to be putting our time in going out and looking for those that are ready. In reality, those that are ready will come and are coming, even though I do test these fields sometimes. And the reason I do that is because I am a powerful creator and everything is energy. And when I do test a field, even though it's rejected, a seed is planted, if you will. So, but I don't spend a lot of time on that, exerting energy with someone that is resisting things. It's nonsensical to do so. Our focus is on gathering those that are in alignment and that can see it. So
yes,
uh,
exactly
I
as
just
you
want to,
said yesterday, Rick, that we help GPMS help for one case, NIA case, not for 1 million. It's not about to start fight with the actual system. It is about to make education, because many people cannot see the rights and the freedom. So if she really wants, so basically she wants a sort of resistance inside of the actual system until the consents gather. But where you put your focus, where you spend your time, focus and everything, so this is happening. So if she spends the time on fighting with the actual system and trying to have resistance at the same time, this is not really working because she'll be catch inside of that resistance all the time. Putting effort to gather consent, this is making GPMS to happen, that we do not need this kind of fighting with the actual system. And she is asking also from where we can have the mineral vitamins, because the food is not pure, we know that. So start to grow how much you can, your own food, I would say. And also she's asking about the current product, services, commodities, how this will move forward with GPMS. So current product, services, we spoke a lot on, she needs to look on the internet, new versus the old. Because with GPMS,
yeah.
a lot it's coming for free. So to understand a little bit that is coming for free, and it's not every product or service today, like for example, the company of the internet giving services 5G and everything. It's not about to continue on that, because there will be no corporation, no profit and loss. So she should see more video with GPMS because we spoke all the time about these things. But anyway, I see that once we touch on a lawsuit, the people fighting with the system, they start to move forward because if not, probably they cannot see what we are doing here with GPMS. So you can see right now, it's GPMS is very high still. It's not yet seen.
Yeah, well, just to answer what she was saying, I love to use Thailand as the first initial example of that. With Thailand, their community with the consents come in. They were, I believe, number one with GPMS early. But what occurred as a result of about 14,000 in Thailand all becoming members of GPMS, but all interconnected, what it did, it created um, a minor paradigm shift within Thailand, because what occurred when all of these individuals, 14,000 or so, more now, when they came together, what they brought together was skill sets, services, goods, organic, holistic products, healing. And so when they all connected, then these gifts were all shared between that community, and that occurred organically, and this is what happens. And I love using that one that come in with GPMS in part of Thailand. He was working on the small free energy devices. So, and when he brought that knowledge into the group, there were in Thailand, there were ones didn't even know free energy existed. But what he did, he brought that in, and that got distributed through the consciousness, and also there um, many of them were farmers, so then they began to trade and exchange at lower rates. So this occurred organically, and then there was connections to beginning to the Philippines and to South Africa. But there was something that occurred, an event, and I don't know really what it was in Thailand, that all of a sudden they got separated. And the darkness with their tactics is always to divide and conquer. But something shut that down in Thailand. And even though I asked the questions, I still do not know exactly what occurred, but it stopped it. And it was progressing very well and very beautifully. Thailand GPMS group is still functioning, but we don't see any movement much in the last year or two with consent. So, and again, this is GPMS as a whole, if you will, has been, let's say, attacked by the darkness at least two prominent times in the past. But GPMS is divinely assured and ascertained, meaning that nothing can stop it, it cannot be contested with. And with the fallen ones and with the darkness, this is their biggest threat, GPMS. So it's like all groups in the past with Sindo, and to just name one, when you have these goodwill ventures, prosperity funds, it gets infiltrated by the darkness to take it away from humanity and to separate. But with GPMS, no, this is God's divine direct will and testament upon the planet that it cannot. But during the event of GPMS, if you will, being attacked, it also shows the current membership, but also ones outside, the reason why GPMS is needed, but it also identifies the darkness as well, because we are in the time of the great judgment where the sheep are separated from the goats. And as we said earlier, by the actions and deeds of one, ones, that judges theirself, but it also shows the separation where they cannot be a part of GPMS or go forward because they are not in alignment with unity and the good intent. The actual underlying agenda is that they are either dark or they're able to be manipulated by the darkness, and dark tactics is to divide and conquer, to separate, to diminish. So many learned great lessons from that as well to show that, yes, there is an actual resistance out there. It is the actual evil and the ones that they can control, that the evil can manipulate and control. And they'll set up what is chaotic things to cause confusion and separation. These are typical tactics of the darkness, and that's on the micro level, and that's how they controlled the planet, the evil cabal, if you will, by keeping one separated with different ideologies, different religions, different nations, different monies, because it caused all separation. And when that separation was there, it was easier for the evil to control and manipulate humanity. But GPMS is the opposite. It's bringing all together with all of the abundance, the freedom, and the joy. And the darkness cannot be a part of this world because it is not their intent to be that. It's not what they are. And as I said earlier, they cannot change. So they are left behind in the dust. Our it is not our job, if you will, to judge them. That's why I say it's not our job to judge and sentence them. They are organically judged and sentenced by the wrath of God. So we don't need to really put a finger on this darkness. It organically implodes and eradicates by us focusing on the majority and the good things and keeping the unity with it. And that's what we do. And the unity is so important, but also um, with Sister Nya, this is a very important divine order, if you will, that's been put here, because what we're doing is many of the children, and mostly divine feminine worldwide, were suppressed and controlled by taking the system, taking the children from them to create disharmony and to use the power of the feminine to put her into the fear-based emotions, to control the feminine's connection to the child, that most strongest unconditional love energetic bond, because it's love-based. This is the threat of the darkness. That's why they take the children to put the mother in despair so she is unable to rise further in her divine power in the least. And the whole system with divorces and law, it's all set up to create animosity and conflict. There is never a justifiable remedy within this beast system. It's not designed to give remedy, it's always designed to suppress, endanger, create fear, to create animosity and separation. That is the beast system. At its core, it is designed to do that. And of course, it uses law and it uses money as the two main tools to enslave humanity. So with GPMS, we flip the tables on how they use money by making money just abundant for everyone the way it should be, and also by putting the divine law based on the intrinsic rights. And this is the new world and the transitory step that breaks their control on humanity, what they had. And of course, freeing all of the children that were taken. And believe me, it is very sick when you began to listen to the survivors of what they had endured at what is supposed to be child protective services is actually satanic child abuse. And it's sick. And the stories we're hearing, even in Norway, just I love using this one because it's so blatant. The child services had no other excuses to get this child from a family that the excuse they used, the child is 1 pound underweight. How stupid and preposterous is that for a justice system to even allow that to occur? So it shows the justice system is in Norway is part of that corruption. It is not common sense. It is not sensible. It is not law, and it openly, truly reveals how sick it is. And again, when we jump to the U.S. with how much the government funds that CPS, the Child Protection Service, with all of this money to do these things. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the child services taking children because the family is in poverty when the actual system, the capitalistic system, creates that poverty. And then they use that as an excuse to create more victims, to create more stress, more animosity. And I'm so grateful we are in these times that it's almost at the end. But with Sister Nya and what we're doing, it is instrumental to free all of the children and restore the family units worldwide. And we're doing this as a micro example that is now beginning to proliferate and extend, as we said, worldwide because of the lawful strategy at forcing the legal system to be accountable and responsible. And that's one thing they didn't have before. And when you'll see in the capitalistic beast system, when they use things like impunity, that is not law at all. And this is a typical example of that is what with the Operation Warp Speed, if you will, when they put out the vast worldwide medicine, they granted immunity, the governments granted immunity to the manufacturers of these products. But by doing that, that is not law. But the beauty of it, yes, perhaps the pharmaceutical company cannot be sued, but the government can with the biggest liens ever known, because there has to be responsibility and accountability, and within law, it can never be avoided. So the people might say, oh, they granted the pharmaceutical companies immunity. We can't sue them. Well, what you do is you place the liens and you sue the actual governments because the governments lawfully cannot provide this immunity. It's nonsense, and it is the illusion, and it is another great perpetration and atrocity upon humanity to inflict great harm. So we have all of the laws for everything to correct everything here on earth and to put the people in great joy, great abundance, and great comfort. Thank you. I got to go for a moment.
Yeah, just a little bit for Amanda, for seeing Amanda. So we are Energy Amanda, and the correct information, it's basically cleanup, it is healing, it is ascension. So GPMS, it is the correct information. It's to start to find inside of the system, it's absolutely not enough. It's demonstrated in another video with Rick George that it's coming against the divine solution. I'll share with you for you and for everyone. It is the website, gpms.org. It is old versus new. So it's divine-gpms.org, divine plan. It's all to new. And there you may find the great transition and exactly what you ask about the products, services, commodities. So basically what is happening with everything that we have. You start to see what it is, GPMS. But I'm saying from the beginning, GPMS is coming with a lot of free given housing if it is no one, and it's about the big ones, organic and everything that is needed, because it will be based on also the technology, good technology implementation. So we spoke a lot about, it's about speaking hours and hours. So this is the reason that I cannot develop too much here, but also for the resistance until GPMS starts. When you detox via the correct information presenting GPMS. So first of all, you need the information to know exactly what GPMS is. After that, you present this information to everyone, not only to the leaders of group movement as freedom, because you'll start to recognize by yourself first that GPMS is about any kind of other freedom movement, and start to gather consents. When you gather consents, you meet people, then you become part of the community, online community, and also base community, physical base community in your place of living. Then having the community on the spirit of GPMS, the resistance with the actual system is formed. And you do not need to go towards against the authorities and everything to do this kind of stuff. So if the others are doing, you may participate if you want, but it's not necessary. So GPMS has everything inside, and the people moving with GPMS right now, we have the already NIA case. This is a precedent that happened in, can be seen as precedent. So many can follow based on that. This happened already in Austria. This is a success. So Rick explained in yesterday meeting with Romania, that will appear also soon on YouTube, GPMS and Rumble, explain how we care about one case, that this will be enough for all others. So this case already happened. This is about success inside of the actual system. Nia passed through all that. So thank you so much, Nia, for all the suffering. I'm so sorry for that. And at the same time, for humanity is huge. So Amanda, right now we have already a case that can multiply. So based on that, we can show that, and based on that, we can help the community and the resistance form before GPMS happen. And how GPMS happens, it's by consent. So when you put the effort to gather your community, if you are doing that on the spirit of GPMS, that it is the highest freedom spirit, you participate on both, on part of the resistance at the same time for the new world. Yes, Rick.
Thank you. At this time, with public notice 40 that is on the website, and Sister Nya will have to perhaps put a post out on Facebook again with the website, our Absolute Law website, so one's members of GPMS can access that to share public notice 40 with if they're a representative. We have shared it in all of the groups, our Telegram and perhaps our Facebook groups. Public notice number 40 that I just read in the beginning of this meeting is very important for all to know the lawful validation and accreditation of GPMS. This is monumental. And because what we've seen in the past, ones were in fear some that, oh, if we consent with GPMS, we might lose our pension or the government might come after us. So no, they cannot. And this is an important notice for everyone to share. And if anyone was hesitant in the past in consenting with GPMS, this public notice is lawful and it validates and it clears that up so that ones can come in quickly. So we ask for any representatives, guardians of GPMS, any members to share this public notice out there worldwide. It is unprecedented. It's beyond monumental, as we're saying. We're getting near to the end time of the old in this new world. And again, we need that majority consent to bring this in for everyone, to bring all the families back together, to free the children, and all of the beautiful joy and abundance. Having said this, we may, what Father said, we may have our first new panel 72 meeting. Brother Dave, he just went, and I wanted him to hear this, but he'll hear it. We may need to soon have a panel 72 meeting because as a result of what occurred here with this validation with public notice 40. So again, I wish to say also, all of you and everyone watching this, you are all a equal shareholder of the entire system worldwide. And I need to say this for the simple reasons that you need to know that you're an actual shareholder of all of this infrastructure worldwide, all of this public infrastructure. It was built because of each and every one of you. And this gives you the bona fide shareholder status, equal shareholder status to share in everything. And it's part of the lawful precedent and founding of the universal nation of GPMS. So we have said in the past, you can look at let's say the whole world just as an analogy being a company, and you can look at the governments as being the executive responsible for running it. But when you have, let's say, four or five executive running a company that has 100, when the majority consent or when the majority dissent against that, they are the majority, and they do, even in the old corporate world, do change things. And also, if it's needed, they take over the company when it's exposed um, with obstruction of fiduciary duties and responsibilities that executives and companies are supposed to have. They are morally obligated, and of course, they have codes of ethics that has to be in alignment with morality. But what you see when you apply this to the worldwide stage, that you have the huge corruption, the obstruction of justice, the denial of fiduciary duties and obligation to the people. And so when the majority shareholders say, no, this is not acceptable, this minority has to step aside because law and truth and morals has to be upheld, and nothing can resist the majority of the people. So to put it in that type of perspective as well for some to know. So yes, with that one little thing of no, not one little thing, everything is actually huge. Again, it's important to know that GPMS has a worldwide universal voice and jurisdiction, meaning that it can make statements publicly worldwide, and we are doing that is for the good of all, and of course founded fully in divine law. We are not doing these public notices, what we're putting out haphazardly. It is all fully foundationed in laws and the rights of the people. But also, having said this, as I brought up a few weeks ago, that what I will do as a guardian of GPMS from the desk of GPMS, if we see, for example, a bona fide good group, let's say, of moms standing up to demand justice because, let's say, their children were taken, well, we can stand at least with in solidarity and support them because they are doing what is righteous and what needs to be done. And it's all in alignment with Divine-gpms.world because our voice is the most powerful voice on earth, whether it's recognized within the dark system yet, but let me say the dark system knows us, and yes, it cannot contest that. And again, Austria is a micro example of that infusion of divine law in to break down the legal constructs. So we are the most powerful voice. Brother Dave coming back. Just I'm gonna have a little laugh for a moment here. So it's important for everyone to know, yes, the people are the power that let's say the governments and your representatives, they are. Brother Dave, just when you were leaving for your information, and I'm laughing because I was just about to say it when you left, a panel 72 meeting, perhaps in the near future. So we're just wait and see what happens, perhaps in the next week with Sister Nya, and next week or two with these huge advancements. Then it may be divine time that we have our first new panel 72 meeting. And of course, brother, I feel fully in my heart that I would love to have you there on that one. So just sharing.
Yeah, I didn't leave by my own volition. There's all sorts of problems we're having now with things not working and internet dropping out and all sorts of weird stuff.
Right. I've heard that from someone else as well. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. We have a lot of geomagnetic storms and things coming in as well. And this is the leading front of a much more powerful positron influx for the planet. So yes, again, things will be affected. Oh yeah, with Sister Nya with the light bulbs and had to get the fire alarms tested. EB, what we say, not the conspiracy EBS signals, but you see the countries testing their emergency things, and it's to spread like a fear. But we see all this occurring. Yeah, thank you. So I'm all done speaking. I'd love to hear from anyone else. Thank you.
So tomorrow we'll have a meeting on the monthly meeting GPMS on Philippine with Lodi. Lodi, would you like to share, please, a little bit what is happening for GPMS in Philippines?
Oh, yes. Good evening, everyone. Oh, it's almost morning. Hello. Uh, with the consent, I still am receiving from a few brothers and sisters. So I am doing it manually, but I am transferring it first on paper before I can type it on the website. So, with the events that happened in the last few days, we have heard about the earthquake in Cebu. It's 6.9. And after that earthquake, there was a tornado in the same area in Cebu. And what I've been seeing on some reels, on some videos, uh, some prophets are saying that we are to expect the big one. So I've been hearing this big one years ago, and with the advent of the signs that we are seeing in this current timeline of the end times, um, a lot of happening is already felt and experienced here in the Philippines. And of course, with the government, the people are uprising and rumors are spreading that soon uh, revolution by the people will start to happen again because um, those officials, high-ranking officials in the government, are found to be uh, um, how is it? Spending the money of the people for their own benefit. Um, there's a hearing going on the House of the Representatives and the Senate, investigating those involved, and they are exposing names of congressmen, senators who are involved in this, and also a very close relative of the current president. So um, there are rumors that there is going to be a very big movement of the people that's going to happen in the very near future, maybe next month, or we don't know. So we are seeing the system is collapsing really. And as we all know, as the system collapse, the new system, the replacement, of course, it's the GPMS Divine Plan, will begin to arise. So there's the kind of excitement. Personally, I feel it. Despite of all the, some would say, catastrophes and very bad events happening in the country, but I remain very optimistic that this is it. It's really happening. It's really happening. That's all I can share for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lodi, and see you soon in less than 20 hours.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, so Dave, to answer a little bit to your question yesterday, so the account of Canada, I spoke a little bit with Rick, the old one on Telegram account will not last. We need to insert an information for the people to come to you, to me, to Rick, and see how many from there they are active or not. So we know who was working for GPMS and who just was there with the name and nothing else. So the active ones should be a transfer on the new divine-gpms.world Telegram account for Canada. Yes, Rick.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, Dave, if you or someone wants to vet that, one way that I used on Telegram, if one has their user or their phone number hidden or possibly even their username, if it's unhidden, it actually shows a level of deception. So you can use that perhaps as a discernment tool at who is genuine and who is not. Of course, someone still in fear could be genuine, but what you will find is with the actual infiltrators that they will not have their phone number. It'll be unknown or what have you, just as a little a tip if it's useful. What I wish to so yeah, it's important we get the Canada group repopulated as well. And of course, I'm always here for any assistance. Importantly, with this, I need to go back to Austria again, and I'm going to keep this as simple for everyone. And I began to speak about it, but then I had forgot about it when I was reading off Public Notice 40. So initially, against Austria at this time is a $2.5 trillion lien, and that's only an initial one, meaning it's going to grow. And what this does, because it's legal, the lien it has been accepted as lawful in the system. It puts in the old world of commerce, it puts the Republic of Austria in insolvency very quickly. And what this does then with Austria, with its people, because it's unable in the old economic ways to pay this debt from the lien in the old ways, but the liens are going to increase. So, what this does, the government, the Republic of Austria, has to make a choice. And their choice is really no other choice but to accept GPMS and give this choice to their people, because the other way, Austria implodes. It has no trade partners, its economy restricts, and it creates harm and hardship in the least for the people. And it is not in the favor of the Republic of Austria not to pay these liens. So, what this does, the only other competent, reasonable choice is to embrace GPMS by giving it to their people. And what this does then in Austria, it is the solution to comply fully with GPMS, but also to activate the GPMS money. And when, as I said before, any one nation can catalyze this very quick chain reaction worldwide. So, right at this point of time, Austria has a choice. If they choose the Republic, the government of Austria, if they choose GPMS to endorse it and give it to their people, once you have a majority people from Austria with GPMS, they activate the unlimited money, the most powerful currency ever known on Earth. And what this means, the rest of the nations cannot compete nor contest with it, that the other nations have no choice as but to follow suit for their people. So you can see how instrumental and how more than monumental and significant this can be if Austria, the Republic of Austria, if the government makes the right choices. And let me just say, if they don't, and the longer they hesitate, the amount of liens being placed against them is growing, that there is no choice. They will go bankrupt into full insolvency. But this thing is, is that the ones responsible in the government are the ones that will be responsible to the people. So it is not a very sensible thing for the government not to choose GPMS. So this is the dilemma, if you will, that Austria has. But not only that, it can set it off worldwide. Brother Dave, I'd love to hear your any additions or your commentary on what I just said, or your understanding, perhaps.
Um, yeah, I acknowledge the atrocities of the child issue across the planet. It's a little bit out of my zone. I have grandkids, and of course, those kids are the jurisdiction of my son, and he's well aware of the things going on the planet. So I trust in his judgments on that. But yeah, as far as that goes, the falsehood that's before us all is the important factor is that it's coming to the surface. Because if people continue to keep hiding, then of course we don't move forward. So that's all I have to offer is that it's a good sign, especially the latest documents that you have produced with Sister Nya. This is a huge step forward, where the world will no longer be able to bury their head in the sand, so to speak. So that's a good sign, along with some increasing numbers in particular areas like Canada is starting to surge and U.S. a little bit further. So that's all good news. And from my calculations and the information that is out there now, 2025 is the year. So we've only got a couple of months left. And if 2025 is the year where everything comes down, that will be a breath of fresh air, not only to myself, but I imagine a few others on this station. So it's all good, and we just have to keep surging forward and holding the ground. Thanks.
So it is about already 2 hours and a half for today meeting. If someone wants to add something for today. If not, Rick, please, if you can tell us something like a conclusion about this meeting. A precedent it's already created.
Yeah.
GPMS, it's there. I now recognize inside of the artificial system. Please, I would like to hear your voice.
Yeah. But first, one thing I got to say that's funny, it was just when you asked the question, is there anyone else to speak? We're 2.5 hours. I just felt like I was back in high school in class, and when the teacher asked the question, no one speaks because we want to get out. So we want to get out of this meeting. It's been long enough. So that was the feeling with it. So, what I simply will say, and just to summarize it, is again, this is huge. It's unprecedented. It's beyond, let's say, the comprehension of most of humanity, what has transpired with this lawful strategy and procedure with Sister Nya. And I will say Sister Nya is in the full knowing that this is a divinely orchestrated procedure to bring GPMS in and to anchor in God's law. And this is one of the reasons why Sister Nya is in full trust and patience with this, knowing that her children will be returned soon. So having said this, not only hers, worldwide, the children will be, let's say, most of them return to their families as this escalates. And we do have a couple more things we do have set up, and we've spent a lot of time on this with Sister Nya. We have a inquiry panel where ones will give testimony if that's needed. We're interviewing as we go forward victims to bring this to the surface. And as Sister Nya said, they're now naming names. In even recent and current cases, the moms are at least beginning to step up and, to our knowledge, beginning to name names. So then this is all public, everything we do, so it cannot be hidden. But with our panel, we have in Canada, Kevin Annett, or Annett, as some of you may know. He will, to our knowledge, has said he would be part of the panel. Bandy Lee in the U.S., I'd love to say a world-renowned psychiatrist, and has done much work. We had interviewed her, and to my knowledge, she will be, and others as well, and perhaps even some of you here, and with CABI, that is associated with GPMS. We are all one. Nick, which is part of that, he will also be part of the panel, and so we have one sitting in the wings for the panel in the inquiry as well with this. But what I'm saying, we have it prepared, but it's possible we may not need to use it, that we can go from here to here in an instant. So let's see what occurs. So we put a lot of time at structuring this, divinely, lawfully strategizing it. But I need to say it's Father's strategy, because we've been given the information, and Sister Nya can attest her divine information and inspiration as well on how to proceed with this. So to share with everyone, we were not proceeding from a human logic. I am not human, and neither is Sister Nya, and really neither are any of you that are here. We are divine delegates here for this great time to take everyone home, and we're taking everyone home to the place of joy, abundance, and freedom, of course, in the least. So everything is divinely ascertained, orchestrated, and ordained. So everything that we say, and even things I say at times, yes, it may be far-fetched to all, but it's very real, and time is our witness to what we say. We'd like to have it done instantly. 4 years ago, I'd anticipated that GPMS would have went viral then, and every day I keep anticipating that. However, things are also divinely regulated, because so much has to happen with the revelations and to reveal the dark system so it implodes. And part of that is a lot being educated through the experiences. Like in the UK with the darkness, trying the digital ID things. These are all instruments to implode this, so that ones look towards the Divine-gpms.world. So it's all instrumental. Nothing is by chance. It is regulated by the higher supreme energetics. And again, simply, if you look at Earth, you know how it's created, in all the patterns and design that is in creation. It's not chaotic. There is an order. And it's very important to know this. There is the order of the universe. It is not chaotic. When you look at however you perceive it, you look at your galaxy, how Earth is tilted magically in that perfect way. All of this is part of creation. Again, it's not, you don't see Earth going like this, wobbling, and you have each one of you and a lot or most of life on Earth is symmetrical. With you, you have two eyes, you have two arms, you have two legs, and there are reasons for the symmetry as well. It is by creation and by design. It's not random. It's not with any Darwin theories and what have you. So God is very real, and creation is very real. And with creation, there is order and divine order, and that's what's occurring on earth right now. And the people are being educated through their experience to make the right and the higher choices. And yes, it's taking a while. However, again, I remain. Father has only confirmed that it's most likely by December 31st that we will be in the GPMS replacement system, meaning that we will at least have the majority to do that. And that is still very likely, is what Father is saying, if not before. So let's see what occurs. But everything, when we put it all together, you can see how it is all divinely aligning, especially with Public Notice 40 and what we're doing. And there is no looking back. There is no going back to that old beast system world, as everyone knows. And the only other way to go is with Divine-gpms.world. There is no other choice. It is the only way. So I'll end it with that. So thank you all, and love, light, and gratitude. We'll keep this on, but I'll just stop the Facebook feed. One moment. We got Facebook stopped, and you can stop the recording if you wish, sister. Yeah.